What if I told you that suffering may be the only constant? Now, what does this exactly mean? As a human being, or any living creature sensible enough to perceive the contrast of good versus bad, one will undoubtedly recognize the existence of the state of mind which is suffering. Whether it is depression, agony, anxiety, fear, guilt, shame, or even angriness, one is sure to feel these forms of negative emotions regularly. You may have a lot of work to do in the upcoming weeks, and you're feeling stressed and unaccomplished. You may be going through a tough breakup with your girlfriend that you've been with for 8 years and find yourself in a state of depression. Where there is good, there is bad. There is sure to be bad. For if the contrast is not omnipresent, one's perception of the opposite emotions may never even occur. Now, is suffering necessarily a bad thing? Imagine you play the game of your life and score the game-winning shot for your basketball team. If this is to initiate any emotion, different experiences and worse days are to be a reality if one can call what comes afterward a feeling of joy and happiness. The reasons for our suffering is an even more frequently discussed theme. One may take in a philosophic and atheistic approach like Arthur Schopenhauer and claim that the reason men suffer is the will to live. This will, Schopenhauer explains beautifully in his book Life as Will and Representation. There is only one inborn error, and that is the notion that we exist in order to be happy. So long as we persist in this inborn error, the world seems full of contradictions. For at every step, in great things and small, we are bound to experience that the world and life are certainly not arranged for the purpose of being content. That's why the faces of almost all elderly people are etched with such disappointment. He claimed that the reason we, for instance, find love is solely will to life's manifestation on the human species as a delusion for what we need in order to be happy. He writes that, for example, we see so much divorces and marriages these days because the will to life has forced the will to reproduce upon them, making them ignorant as to who their partner should be. You may see different explanations as to why we have this suffering and why it is a constant in our life as human beings. Another example of these notions is, of course, the religious one. Now, in the Bible, for example, if we are to use one of the most popular notions of why we suffer, it is because a person, actually the first person on earth, along with another one, bit an apple. Bit a fucking apple. Now you might choose to believe that or not, and I'll respect your meaning. But please, let's be realistic.